What's up guys, my name is Andrew, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today, it's a special day. We are gonna be taking all of these wires all over here and putting them in here. So guys, if you wanna see how to get all of these wires into this GTI engine bay and get that motor functioning, then come along guys and join us in this video and let's get this motor all put back together and running.
Hola amigos, Chris Moore here. So as you can see, I have a whole rat's nest of wiring just like looking like a scarf right now. So all of this will somehow go in this and make this go broom. So let's get going. Alright, so to get this wire tuck started, before anybody asks, did a little bit of research. Just gonna kind of, you know, just roll with it, see what happens. I have an idea. So I want to get like a base start. I'm gonna put all the wires in, get everything connected up so we know what needs extended, where it has to go. This is our O2 sensor harness. The majority of it will be in the rain tray. The next harness is our actual engine harness. This just, you know, goes on the engine and does the engine boopity things. And then that is the alternator harness, which we will be extending, I believe. So let's get all these wires in and we'll get back to you. Right, so we're just gonna get everything in and kind of where it will be. I'm not gonna plug absolutely everything in, but, oh, don't break things. We're just gonna get it all situated. Like, the majority of this stuff used to come out here and go down there, but now it's all, we're gonna situate it in the rain tray and figure it out.
It's gonna be a good old wire tuck in here.
It's gonna be a good old headache time.
It should be fun though.
It's definitely gonna be interesting to see what we have to do, and fingers crossed we don't screw it up.
Yeah, we want Chris to be able to drive this car.
Oh, I need to drive this car, it's been too long.
Alright, so let's get these wires situated in here.
Quick breakdown of the harness, just so we have an idea of where things are going. I've already kind of split it up into sections, so from here down this is all fan wiring and going to the radiator and all that, so it's all around the front of the car. So we know vaguely where this has to go. This is for the alternator harness, so I either want to extend this or the alternator connector on the engine harness. This is headlight, horns, and fender marker, side marker, light. So I don't actually think these are gonna have to get extended too much. And then we have, this is the body harness side of the engine harness connector. So I have to figure out if I wanna extend this or the engine side. And then, yeah, we're pretty much golden from that. Right, so we're first going to tackle the engine harness and getting that extended and all that stuff, which involves the good old ECU connector and our harness that connects the body harness and the engine harness together. So I've already made a start on this one. As you can see, I had a donor harness, which I cut as much off of as possible. I have it connected into the ECU, ran vaguely along where it's going to go and out of here, and we're just taking it wire by wire. So so I'm certain that I don't mess up. So the way that I am connecting these harnesses is with some heat shrink and solder, because butt connectors is just not the way to do this. This is way too much, well, way too many wires to be butt connecting, and I just feel like that's kind of the cheap out way of it. So we have an assortment. I bought 2 assortment packs of heat shrink. We're probably not going to use the big stuff. This is just way too big. But yeah, that's what we're going to be tackling today, and hopefully if we can get this done in a timely manner, then we could maybe move to the rest of the body harness and get that going too.
So let's get back and let's get working on these.
Yep.
Chris began by stripping back the wires and soldering the extensions onto the harness. Make sure you guys use a good soldering iron or clean the tip to prevent the solder from building up on the iron and causing issues with the solder melting. Please don't forget to put the heat shrink on. Chris forgot to do this several times and had to redo the wiring that he just soldered together. In total, soldering the engine harness took around 8 hours to complete and involved over 80 wires to extend.
Okay, so where we're at right now, the entire engine harness is now spliced. I have both of the harnesses together. Everything is soldered. I even did this connector earlier today as well. I've just vaguely taped them up for now. I went through and individually taped every single wire that I soldered and heat shrinked, and then we're gonna wrap them all together. What I should have probably done, which I didn't think of at the time, was kind of offset a bunch of these wires when I soldered them, so I wouldn't have this problem where it's gonna like bunch up in a spot. So now we're gonna move on to putting the front clip on and seeing how far all of these wires get to and see how much we have to extend them.
For the next step, we put on the front radiator core support to see what wires would need to be extended. While we were in there, we also extended the alternator harness to get all the vital electronics connected and extended.
So it looks like we got Justin over on this side. He's
What's going on?
Gonna be wiring up this side of the connector, and then Chris is over there going
that side of the connector.
Yeah, going to the other side of the connector, and I am the connector guy holding.
So
it.
the only reason that we're actually doing this and we didn't just get this big wire and splice on the bottom is because this connector from the donor harness is broken. So we had to cut my connector off, still use my connector, and then cut these connectors pin by pin and just use the wire to re-splice back to my body harness.
Because Chris does not want to depin this.
Because, yeah, no, I'm okay. I'll pass. Okay, so, me and Justin... Ow, for sake! Right, me and Justin just got finished doing the connector for the fan control module, what I was explaining before, that we had to use my connector, but splice, I explained it. So, we did actually come across a mishap that we didn't take into consideration before we chopped the connector off of this part. There is 2 wires in here that are the exact same color. They're both blue with a red stripe or a brown stripe, whatever you want to call it. So we just 50-50 chanced it. I kind of traced the wire back because they are taped to then see how they were like oriented, and then we went off what wires were closest to it. So if there's a fault to do with the radiator or a fuse or something, then it could just be this wire. So we'll find out. I'm pretty confident though that we actually got it on the money. I think we got it on the money.
I think we got it on the money. I get lucky all the time.
I think we got it on the money. So we should be fine.
Okay, guys, so Chris went ahead the other day and finished up all the grounds for the wiring harness. The last shot that you guys saw, Chris and Justin were going ahead and actually splicing together the final parts for the wiring harness, and everything is spliced together now, so looks good. We just have to finalize the grounds probably within the next couple of days, but everything is grounded currently, and we can put power to the car. Chris has put power to it just to make sure everything turns on, and it does.
Everything seems to work.
Yeah, so that's a good start. The next thing now that we want to do is we want to go ahead and put the valve cover on. We want to put the intake on, put the brake booster back in the car, really get everything finalized in this engine bay so Chris can go ahead and finally turn on the car and see if this thing actually runs. Yeah. So let's go ahead, let's get this all put back together and hope this car runs, guys.
While putting the motor back together, it is a great time to clean up any parts that could be rusty or in need of a fresh coat of paint. To prepare to start the motor, we reconnected all of the coolant lines, installed the master cylinder and the ABS module. We also took the freshly powder coated intake and valve cover and bolted it down to the motor. The last step we had to do was to check to make sure all the wiring was connected and see if the motor would start.
So now we're running through the actuator test. I don't know if you can hear that clicky noise. That's a secondary air pump relay. I don't have the secondary air pump, but that means that we still wired everything incorrectly if that's going off. Pretty much it just goes through every single sensor and relay and actuator and makes them go off for 30 seconds. And because I don't have that, that's not plugged in right now, so we're not going to hear the N75 valve. Hopefully we can run through all of these tests and maybe give her a crank. Right, so actuator test is done. Everything that I had plugged in, or that we have plugged in that we still have in the car, made a tick, it made a noise and everything, and the scanner didn't interrupt the tests at any point in time. It finished and ran through every single test, therefore everything is good. So I'm pretty confident right now that we could give this car a crank and maybe get a startup. Okay, so I'm a dummy, and me and Andrew have just been running around like headless chickens trying to get this thing to crank. It just wasn't cranking. I tested every circuit, everything was good, but it turns out what I hadn't done, but like the most novice idiot ever, was tighten down the battery terminal properly, the ground strap. Yeah, so I'm stupid.
So let's actually go give this thing a crank and see if it works.
Yeah. Ready? You know what I mean by it? Happy as happy can be.
Well, it looks like she started, boys.
Yes, she did.
You got a little bit of coolant smoking off here. Not too bad.
That's no biggie. Hi, Mo.
You happy?
Yeah.
Well, that's a...
She.
That means the wiring. You did a good job, Chris.
The wiring is good. She's clearly not happy because it's not tuned to the bigger pump and the bigger injectors and the FPR and the big turbo and all that stuff. But she's pretty happy. Oh, I swore! Oh. Oh.
You are really...
Happy.
There you go. Okay, guys, as you can see, we got Chris's GTI started. I am so shocked that this car even fired up, because the way that Chris got this thing to fire it up, it's pretty ghetto and sketchy for sure how he ended up doing it, but it did fire up. So Chris, how happy are you, and what are the next things that we need to do to get this car kind of running, I'd say, for 15 minutes or so we can actually, you know, get up to operating temperatures and really make sure that everything is running smooth on the car?
So, I am over the moon. I can go to sleep tonight, a happy boy. Next, we need to do the intercooler piping. I got to figure out the coolant situation. We have to actually wrap up the wiring. I got to figure out a whole ground situation, if I'm going to like bring all my grounds to one spot or whatnot. And then, yeah, like Andrew was saying, we can then run the thing to operating temperature and make sure everything's hunky-dory, and then take it to go get a little tune.
Yeah. So there's definitely a lot more things to do on this car.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to see how it all turns out, but that's what we're going to be working on the next episode. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, enjoyed the wiring mess that happened in this episode, go down below, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel. We would really appreciate it. Just helps place the video higher in the YouTube algorithm and just shows us that you guys are enjoying this video and this content. Yep. So until next time, guys, my name is Andrew.
And I'm Chris.
And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.